Today we are going to focus on the economic side of the Age of Exploration. Let's look at the Commercial Revolution. Opening trade with Asia, Africa, and America changed or revolutionized Europe's economy. Inflation was caused by a growth in population. This growth in population increased the demand for goods and services. After all, if you have more people, you have a greater need for more food, more clothing, and more housing. Because goods were scarce, sellers could raise their prices. By the mid-1500s, silver and gold were everywhere, and rulers were using it to make coins. Thus, an increased amount of money was in circulation. But just because there was more money in circulation did not necessarily mean that you could afford to buy the goods you needed. With this amount of money in circulation and the scarcity of goods, prices continued to rise and people experienced inflation. Now, monarchs at this time were unfamiliar with inflation, so they continued to take in the same amount of taxes as they had for years. And this would eventually cause the economy to suffer. The growth of capitalism. Expanded trade and a push for overseas empires spurred the growth of capitalism. Basically, it spurred the growth of people making money. Entrepreneurs and capitalists wanted more money. They made up a new business class devoted to making profits. This changed the local European economy into an international trading system. No longer were you just trading from village to village or within your own country. You can now make trades around the world. Mercantilism. Basic ideas behind mercantilism are this. A nation's wealth is based on its silver and gold treasure. You must export more goods than you import. Basically, you must sell more than you buy. If not, you'll go bankrupt. And colonies existed for the benefit of the parent country. This meant that they were there to provide raw materials and resources for the mother country. They provided a market for selling manufactured goods, and colonies could only buy from the parent country. They were not allowed to buy from other colonies, as is shown by this image here. Colonies could not buy from each other. They would first have to buy from the mother country. If the yellow colony wanted a raw material or raw goods produced by the blue colony must first sell those goods to the mother country. The mother country could then sell those goods at a higher price to the yellow colony. You can see why colonies were very unhappy by this deal of exchange. A summary of commercial revolution is this. How did the commercial revolution change Europe's economy? Well, you had inflation, you had a new class of entrepreneurs, and you had mercantilism. So prices rose with inflation. A new business class of entrepreneurs were created through capitalism, and the goal of European economies changed from agrarian to a cash-based system. This meant that there was less farming and trading of foods, and people started using money. Let's look at this commercial revolution graphic. Increased trade caused a need for more workers, more cash in banking, and more merchants with more wealth and power. More workers needed led to serfs moving away from the countryside and into towns. More cash in banking led to more money available for building businesses. And merchants with increased wealth led to higher taxes, which meant increased wealth and power for the king. How did this affect normal, ordinary people? Well, the nobility or upper class gained their wealth from land, not cash, and they struggled raising money to pay for these new luxury goods. However, the middle class thrived. Investments led to their increased wealth, and their power grew, especially in cities, and the middle class enjoyed a new way of comfortable living. This was a little different from the peasants, laborers, and lower class. Wages did not keep up with inflation. Peasants were reluctant to grow new crops, and city laborers were forced to live in poverty. This led to new struggles within a country and would eventually lead to the Industrial Revolution.